What is up, ladies and gentlemen? How have we been? So I thought I'd take a few minutes just to address the recent changes and the current state of the Dragon Ball TCG market and what that might mean for us moving forward as collectors and players alike. Now, I can't really say that I've been a long-term diehard participant in the Dragon Ball hobby in general. I only just started a couple of years ago, so it'd be kind of hypocritical of me to dismiss any new players entering the hobby. There is obviously an uptick in interest surrounding Dragon Ball at the moment. Probably got the 40th anniversary announcements to thank for that, but there is no denying that a lot of people have caught on to the underrated Dragon Ball cards that you and I have always valued far, far higher than the market ever seemed to. And I love that. That is a good thing. We want people joining in on this hobby. I sure as shit won't gatekeep anybody, but these aren't the people that we're talking about. I'm very aware that there is likely a lot of people involving themselves in the hobby with nefarious intent. Now, they go by a name that rhymes with... Hang on, what rhymes with scalpers? I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. All I know is that there is definitely some market manipulation currently taking hold of the Dragon Ball TCG. I never really thought that I would have to address something like this, but a lot of you seemed curious as to what my thoughts were, so here they are. Fuck scalpers. That's it. That's my thoughts. Now, on to something far more important, advice for what's to come, and bringing awareness to certain things by sharing my thoughts and my experiences. Fans, players, collectors, genuine people of the Dragon Ball TCG, this is for you. Anybody who hasn't experienced something like this may not know what to look out for going forward. Now, I'll try and help as best I can, but I am not an expert. I just have experience understanding a little about how these people prey on your emotion, your FOMO, and your love for the hobby, which is honestly kind of sad, but this is the reality now. This obviously goes further back than Dragon Ball or even card games in general. These people likely started on something like crypto or another hobby like sneaker collecting. A common term for these people actually, before they were known as Poke Bros, was actually sneakerheads, and that's because they pulled the same shit with the sneaker collecting community. Their strategy? Simple. Find something or multiple things that they believe are underrated or undervalued or something that they can manipulate, then buy it all up. Probably sounds very similar to a pump and dump scheme in the world of investing, and that's because it's pretty much the same process. But let me explain. So let's take this Goku here as an example. I just pulled this off my shelf. This is the Super Alternate Art from FBO4. This was the chase card for that set. Now, you believe this card is underrated. You believe the current price of this card is far too low, and you could bump those numbers up a little bit. What do? You go and buy out the entire market. You go and buy any listing of this card anybody's got for sale on any platform. It's yours now. And once you bought out this card and there are no longer any listings anywhere on any of the markets, then you go and relist it for any price that you want. And this card that we're using as an example, start of this month, guess how much it was worth? Couple $100. There's a few sales at the start of this month for about 300, something like that. Don't take my word for it. Have a suss of this. And obviously I cherry picked this card out to suit my narrative, but look at the sold listings just a couple of weeks ago, even days ago. And now it has skyrocketed in less than a month to prices $800 plus. That is well over double. And there are some listings that are even higher than that, which makes absolutely no sense. And you're probably thinking, Melks, why does this matter? If nobody was willing to buy the card before when it was listed at like $300 or whatever it was, why would they be wanting to buy it now when it's like over double the price? Great bloody question, actually. And you know what? It's actually very logical, except we don't live in a world of logic right now. And this is where the predatory part of the strategy kicks in. Now that there are no longer any more of these cards anywhere on the market, they are now preying on your fear of missing out, or FOMO. And this is actually something that I learned very much from Pokemon, that people do not want something until they can't have it. Now, I know that's a pretty common human trait in general, but I didn't think that it applied to card games this much, but apparently it does. So here we are, FOMO set in, 0 available listings except for 1 on TCG Player that is listed for over double or even triple the value it was just days ago. So why would anybody panic or even pay attention to this? I don't really have an answer for you, but people do. People start talking. Fake posts on social media to generate hype for a certain card or a certain set even. Reddit groups being made, Discords being created where people discuss all this stuff. Oh, hang on a sec. That's my Discord. Well, while we're here, you should know that we do not do any kind of scalping or any of that bullshit here. It's all just positive vibes and sharing a mutual love and respect for anything TCG related, but especially Dragon Ball. So come and join and say hey. Then people start actually believing that this card is now worth this arbitrary number that this guy just decided to list on TCG Player. And now it starts circulating this idea, this belief that this card just happened to boom in value overnight, this natural phenomenon. But it's not. It's market manipulation. Now, this wouldn't necessarily be a huge issue or a huge problem if it was just for specific individual high-end cards like the example I just gave. Still probably have a problem with it, but it wouldn't be the absolute end of the world. It's when they start buying out large amounts of sealed product, particularly future sets that haven't been released yet, where they just snap up all the pre-orders, and the snowball effect of something like this can severely impact a TCG and affect players and collectors alike. And players in particular, if they can't get their hands on the product, then they can't get their hands on the cards they need to play the game. The impact of this will reverberate throughout the hobby, something that we are already starting to feel the effects of. So what can you do? Honestly, I don't really have the answers. It's hard for me to say because I'm in a privileged position where I have access to product when I need it. I know that's not the case for everybody, and I know that it's really, really hard, but I think that the best thing that we can do is to just try not to give in to the FOMO, and definitely try not to give in to the greed of these people. Just try to ignore them as much as you can. If possible, ignore the chatter, ignore the noise, ignore the fake hype. Just don't interact with these people, and definitely do not pay their artificially inflated prices. Please keep your wits about you. Please do your market research. Do not fall for the listed price on the homepage or the average price. Look at sold listings, and even be careful of sold listings because they're not always 100% accurate, especially when these people are capable of just going around and buying each other's cards from each other at super inflated prices to once again manipulate the market into thinking that these cards are worth more than what they are, and then they'll just probably go ahead and just cancel the transaction or just never pay it. And doesn't matter because it's there now. It is on paper for people to see. So just be mindful of that as well. Cross-reference multiple markets for pricing. Be careful when you're dealing with people on Marketplace or Facebook groups. Ask for references. Use PayPal when you can. Meet up with people when you can. Do not buy single packs. Unless you are deliberately trying to get bulk, do not do it. Anybody who's new to Dragon Ball, for your information, Dragon Ball booster boxes are seeded. People will sell you dead packs. Individual booster boxes that come from a case, the cases are seeded. They can be tracked. People will sell you dead booster boxes. Be careful with fakes. There aren't a lot of Dragon Ball fakes out there yet, but there likely will be now. So if you are unsure, just don't buy it, please. There will be another opportunity to buy that card, I promise. And finally, go out and get involved in the hobby. Go to your local card store, participate, play the game, trade, talk with other like-minded people, invest in the community. It will eventually balance out, but you have to remain strong. If you give in, then they win, and this will become the new normal. Everything will get bought up by bots. You will not be able to pre-order anything. Sets will be unattainable, and everything will be scooped up by so-called investors or whatever they call themselves. The hobby will die. The card game will die. The Dragon Ball player base is already quite low, but the Fusion World side of things is actually going through a really positive phase right now where the game is actually feel as good as it's ever felt to play, I reckon. And if these people come into the hobby thinking that they can hoard everything and make a quick buck, then they're going to do it. Then the small amount of players that are holding the weight of this card game up, they won't be able to get anything. They won't be able to get any of the cards they need. They won't be able to get any product. Then they'll eventually have to give it up. That's when the card game will truly die. Then the value of your cards and your sealed collection and all the stuff that the investors are hoarding means nothing because at that point, who's even buying it? We are going down a path where we risk pricing people out of the hobby, which is exactly the opposite of what we want, you know, turning away potential new players because they can't afford to get cards. And look, maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. I hope that I am wrong because honestly, this would be amazing. Maybe this is the big influx of Dragon Ball card fans. Maybe this is the great big Dragon Ball card game boom that we all want it to be. And look, if that's the case, I really hope that we see a large spike in player numbers. And maybe this does have to do with, you know, some certain announcements that were made recently, but I don't know. I'm just a little bit skeptical and I don't think it's a coincidence that this started with Pokemon, happening with One Piece, Riftbound, and now Dragon Ball all of a sudden. I don't know, and now it's starting to affect other TCGs as well. They're getting dragged into it. And after what I personally experienced with Pokemon as well, this sort of thing just about killed my love for that game. And I just really, really hope that it doesn't do the same for Dragon Ball. Look, I'm just one person. It's just my opinion. And I don't even think my opinion matters all that much, but a lot of you guys wanted to just hear my thoughts, so here they are. I know what I've been saying isn't really a great solution. It's not really a solution at all. Can't even say for sure if it'll even help, but it's the best thing I can think to try. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of people that are very, very happy with the value of Dragon Ball going up. And look, there are a lot of people who have been involved in the hobby for a really long time that are likely to cash out on this recent boom, which is fine. Your cards being valuable isn't a bad thing and you shouldn't feel bad about it. And you are allowed to sell your cards or your product for whatever price people are willing to pay for it. It's a free market, but something that I've spoken to several people about now, that in order for a TCG to survive, in order for it to gain longevity, the growth has to be organic. It has to come naturally. Now, ask yourself this: does this feel natural? Does it feel normal? If your answer is no, then maybe it's time to step back and have a think about where you see the future of this hobby heading and what you want out of it moving forward. Is this a path we want to go down? Look, I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, that's for sure. But I've gotten a lot out of the Dragon Ball card game. So much positivity and joy. I wouldn't be here making this video without it. This channel, this community that we have built together. I have made so many amazing memories. I have made so many new friends as well. And I would just hate to see it end like this. Maybe that's a little bit dramatic, and honestly, I hate talking about negative shit like this, but all I ask is that we stick together and we do not turn on each other. I've already seen a decent amount of negativity circulating online. Just don't take your frustrations out on the wrong people. The real ones know who they are. Just keep supporting each other. Keep being positive. I probably won't address this again just because I don't really think it's worth giving it my energy, and I'd rather focus it on the good things about this hobby and continue to enjoy it the way I want to. Peace out.